Hello, champions. It's AOC. Get comfy and spend the next hour being thoroughly entertained. This is The Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve. If you like podcasts that make you laugh, provoke thought, and sometimes even make you horny, you're going to love these boys. The Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve. Come for knowledge. Come for the pleasure. Stay because you're tied up.
We won't tie you up, dude. You're going to want to stay, and that's the truth. I mean, from the likes of George Clooney to AOC, even to former President Trump. I mean, we got a lot of endorsements on this show, The Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve.
I like hearing from AOC. That was very nice. I'm glad she could take time away from hanging out with communists and socialists. Give us a little promotion. So.
Trying to get everyone free health care, stuff like that. Like, she's real busy.
Evil. Yeah, find us on the interweb, thevocalminority.net. That is our own website. It's there. It's a thing. But the place where the cool kids are hanging out with us is the interwebs, the social medias. And, Nick, TikTok and YouTube are doing very well for us. The other ones, I don't know. We have some hits. We have some misses. I feel like we should almost... I'm almost ready to just blow up Twitter. I mean, that thing has turned into such a conservative hellhole, but we're still on Twitter. We're on Threads. We're on Instagram and Reddit and Facebook. But mainly TikTok and YouTube. Check it out.
You can find us anywhere. But yeah, where's the bonfire? Where's the music playing? That's over on TikTok and YouTube. So go check it out. And call our comment line, 844-48-VOCAL. You can leave a comment for us. We'll play it on the show. And we appreciate you being a part of the Vocal Minority.
And yeah, find that TikTok page before these people were helping get elected, ban it for all of us.
Yeah, we got to worry about that again. Steve and I were talking I think yesterday or whatever. We're like, we're making some good progress. And thank you, by the way, for helping us make that progress. People have been jumping on the bandwagon of the Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve, really pumping up our TikTok page, pumping up our downloads. And we thought, now we're just getting that steam rolling. And then, TikTok will be banned to watch.
No, we'll hit our first million views or we'll get our first check or whatever from TikTok. And then, the Harris administration that we've helped so much will go ahead and ban it. I'm still saying it's not happening. The ACLU tends to be on the right side of legal issues. The ACLU is fighting on behalf of TikTok. So I don't actually think it's going away. I think these court battles will probably drag out for years, but that first deadline is coming up early into the new year here. So we'll see.
Well, dude, we talked, we've been talking for a couple of weeks about some of the limitations and some of the reasons some of our content gets kicked and booted from TikTok. Yep. It seems like they're making that real frickin' family safe, dude. You can't say, what was the word you used that you got kicked off for?
Dumbass.
Yeah. You can't say dumbass. You can't tell someone to STFU. I thought that was the nice way of saying shut the F up,
Yes. If the Chinese government's trying to corrupt our American culture, they're being very delicate about it. So
that's right.
And, everyone thinks they could do something nefarious, but they haven't. I think Elon Musk is more likely to do something nefarious with all of our information. So let's ban that guy.
That other guy running for president, dude, is doing things much more nefarious, to our country than TikTok and the Chinese are doing right now. So I'm not worried about him.
No, find it while it's there. But, plenty of news to get to. So I'd say let's get to it.
This is Need to Know News. News you need to know. Start the news chant, please. Come on.
News. Steve Harness.
Yep. And the news cycle, I think this week in my world anyways, is dominated by the Olympics and politics. So we're going to start off with some politics, I believe.
All right, let's roll right into it. I mean, it seems hard to get away from, but that's where we're at in our country. That's what people need to know. So here we go with Need to Know News.
I am starting to wonder, actually, speaking of helping the Harris administration, what if we help Kamala get elected and then what are we going to talk about? If we just have a sane person running this country, is this show just going to be, I don't know what the show's going to be. So stay tuned.
No, dude, we had so much great stuff on this program before all this stuff started drowning us from above. We'll be fine. Don't sweat it.
Okay. Well, stay tuned, everyone. This falls into the category of headlines that don't surprise me whatsoever. From the Huffington Post here. Trump reportedly refers to Harris as a bitch in private.
Yeah, duh. You think that's surprising to anyone? Come on.
No, I mean, come on. I mean, first of all, I find it hilarious. His campaign, Stephen Chung, a Trump campaign spokesperson, said about this New York Times story, that's where it broke first, quote, "That is not the language President Trump has used to describe Kamala, and it's not how the campaign would characterize her." Now, we already have audio of him calling her that.
Dude, come on. What world are we living in that we believe this guy? That's how we respect women? Grab them by the pussy? What are we talking about here in private? I think we already know.
There was, after the Biden debate debacle, there was that video that someone on the golf course took of him where he didn't know he was being filmed, and he was like, "Oh, Biden's a disaster. He's out of the race. Now we got Kamala. I think Kamala's going to be much easier. She's a fucking bitch." Like, He said it on camera already. So yes. I'm not even sure why this is breaking news, but yeah, to hear that he calls her a bitch, the B word. My first thought was, I'm pretty sure the C word and probably the N word are actually more likely being thrown around behind closed doors, you know?
Completely, dude. We know how the guy talks. Anytime there is, I mean, he talks like trash up on stage, but anytime there's a secret recording of him, he's always using really foul language, and the way he talks about people on stage, think about how he talks behind the curtain. That should be Trump's exit. Okay. He could make a ton of money if, they televise this. Okay. He says, I would like for you to give me that drug the military has to make you tell the truth, you know? And can you imagine what a Saturday night special that'd be, dude, where we all just watch him for 2 hours just telling the truth?
Yeah, that'd be crazy. We've heard reports from The Apprentice set that he used the N-word regularly, and one of his own relatives, I think it was his Fred Trump Jr., the third or whatever, he confirmed that he's used the N-word before. And so he calls her a bitch, according to this report that we've already had confirmed through undercover camera stuff. But yeah, I think the C word is probably being thrown around, the N-word. We know they all think she's an a-hole, so there's that. They've claimed she's just going after the D to get her promotions in life, right? She's
Completely.
Just effing her way to the top.
That's right, dude. Yeah.
Which would mean she's using her TNA for S&M. Was she using it for DP? I'm just trying to see how many letters can I fit into this story here.
How many? You're quite the wordsmith, Stephen. That was pretty incredible. But I think that they're doing all of the above. C, all of the above.
Ah, very good. And if they are accusing her of being a bitch, they must be talking about PMS too, then, right?
Gotta be talking about it. And they gotta be talking about PM, perimenopausal, dude. I mean, they've gotta be talking about that.
Right. So I guess my only note to the GOP would be she's the GOAT, so F you. Okay.
STFU. Okay.
Exactly.
Come on.
Which now gets us banned from TikTok, but regardless. So, like I said, that falls in the category of the sky is blue sort of headline that Trump would be calling her the B word.
Completely. And I think he's got just the perfect guy on the ticket for him to have a little junior high style talk about Kamala. I mean, J.D. Vance has proven to be such a freaking moron, dude. I don't think I've seen anyone quite like him. When I watch Trump interviews, I'm like, this guy's such an idiot. But he's got his thing down to a T. Okay, J.D. Vance, I can't stomach the guy. I can't watch his interviews where I'm like, at least with Trump, I'm kind of addicted to watching you be an idiot because you're good at it. But J.D. Vance just makes me want to turn the TV off.
Yeah, that's fair. JD should be DOA. I'm just keeping my letter thing going here.
Yeah, see if you can keep it going the whole show, dude. I love it.
Certainly TMI on his couch stories.
Yes.
So, but I mean, it's fun to watch them all implode over there. And speaking of TikTok and this whole like women thing, her, blowing her way to the top or whatever.
Yeah.
I've been arguing with a lot of idiots on TikTok and YouTube of late. And somebody just walked right into one of my setups. And I think it took him a while to realize it. He was trying to claim that Kamala was sleeping her way to the top, right? And I pushed back saying, like, I think it was the video about just because if you're equal opportunity or DEI, that doesn't mean you're not qualified to have gotten your degree or passed the bar or whatever. And I said something to this idiot about, I hope there's no women in your life that have graduated from college. And he chimes right back in. Oh, I got you. My wife has a master's degree and my daughter's got her, bachelor's of something. I'm like, oh, so they earn those degrees on their back, on the couch in the dean's office or whatever.
That's what you're assuming.
Right. And this guy got all pale. Oh, say that to my face, you stupid liberal, and all that. I'm like, do you not see what I just did to you? Like, you're saying that the only way a woman graduating college could possibly be a vice president is she slept her way to the top. But somehow the women in your life, they must have earned that degree. By the way, a woman is part of DEI, by the way. That is a diversity thing, to have women, minorities, gay people. So,
yes. Disabled people. I mean, it could mean so many different things, right? It just means marginalized on some level. So, it's funny to see that people are saying, she screwed her way to the top. I was having a conversation with somebody that I love in my family, okay? And I said, oh, you don't think your wife screwed her way to the top? And he was like, what are you saying? What are you saying? I was like, let's be honest. Like, we all do what we have to do on some level, right? You don't sell out to your boss because you got to keep your job and do well. Everyone sells out on some level. It doesn't mean you don't do your job. Doesn't mean you don't work hard. This is crazy to think that, oh, now we got to hold her to this level, but you guys won't even talk about Trump paying hush money to a porn star for cheating on his wife. Like, he screwed his way to the top or the bottom, however you want to look at it.
I don't even understand the premise of some of these DEI complaints, quote unquote. There seems to be this notion out there that in some workforces, you've got like two people that apply for the job, and one is a straight white man who's got these qualifications, and the other is just some inept moron minority female, and they just hire her because they're required to. I mean, there is no requirement for DEI. Let me just explain what it is very briefly. The idea is if you have two applicants who are equally qualified, they both have the degree necessary or the work experience necessary, you eliminate all the people not qualified at all. If you get down to two applicants, then you're allowed to look at, well, gee, maybe we should be diverse. Maybe we don't have enough women at the workplace. Maybe we need some gay people here. Then you can factor in race and gender and ethnicity. But this notion you're just giving away jobs to unqualified black people or whatever, it's not based in reality.
I was last week, or I can't keep track of time at this age of 48, but I was in Montana recently, okay? We're driving in the car, and Rachel, my wife, has to do something for work, and it is a firm-wide phone call for partners, and which means I got to listen to it as we're driving. Well, dude, I'm listening, and a lot of time it can be boring for someone who doesn't know what's going on. But at one point in this phone call, the chairman of this law firm, that's a huge law firm, was talking about all the programs that had been implemented, things that were being added to, and things that were going well, and things they were celebrating as a firm. There were so many on there, dude, it made me proud of where my wife works, because they had on there, veterans, trying to get veterans involved in bringing them in, people of color, women, all these different things, people with disabilities, bringing them in, because yes, that's going to give you a great perspective firm-wide if you have everyone there that can actually know what's going on legally around our country. Like, why wouldn't you want that?
That's what they seem to be missing, that there is value in a workplace to have some diversity. If you employ nothing but middle-aged white guys, you're going to be limited by the scope of what middle-aged white guys think about the world or the problems or the products you're creating or whatever it is. I've seen a lot of conservatives say that I thought everyone was equal, libs. Why would we take in their gender or their ethnicity? You're confusing equality with being the same. You know? Like, equality means that, my gender's not held against me, right? Like, we all could have equal qualifications, but then some of us have different life experiences.
Yeah.
And being a minority or being a woman does give you a different perspective on the world. And that can come in value when you have a big company full of people. You want a diverse opinion base or idea base.
Sometimes you hear that, like, drug counselors, people who work at rehabs are oftentimes former addicts, right? Because, hey, they can understand better than anyone what these people are going through. That's a very simple way of looking at this. We talked about last week of, I know people of color in my life, I've heard several times different people talking about things of like when we were young, turning on the TV and not getting to see someone who looked like them. I think we take that for granted as especially white guys because it makes you understand that, hey, you know what? One day I could do that. That could be me. I could go after that dream and I could make a difference in that way.
There's a good parallel right there with the Olympics, by the way. Kennedy and I were watching the Olympics over the weekend here, and it was one of the distance races. I think it was the 5,000 meter, which is the 5K, 3 miles or whatever, which I used to run in high school. As a high school athlete, if you can run a 5-minute mile, that was pretty impressive. But the bar always used to be the 4-minute mile. No one ever thought anyone could break a 4-minute mile. And then someone finally did. And now all of these distance runners break the 4-minute mile routinely. If you can't do a 4-minute mile, you'll never win a distance event. And it's that same thing. Like, no one thought it was possible. But when they see someone do it, then they realize they can. It's the same thing with minorities, with women. They see someone do it. Now they know they can do it. And the floodgates open. It's a good thing.
It makes it a better place to live, dude. I mean, it makes it a lot more interesting, makes people know by experience. And that's the way you learn. So I'm all for it. Stephen.
You and I are so enlightened, Nick. I don't know why we can't. It's so frustrating to have these conversations with others.
We should just retire, dude. I mean, we are about perfect. Okay.
Hey, we're here to save the world, people.
That's right.
You need to know. Hello, Americans. This is Paul Harvey. Stand by for news.
And you better stand by for that news. There's a lot of things going on. I'm going to go into it, dude. I have to talk about this guy.
Where's Nick?
Oh, I'm right here, dude.
Get over here, Nick.
All right.
The guy is a fan of yours. He's right about that.
Yeah, maybe that's the only thing he's right about, dude, is that I'm worth something. Let me tell you this, dude, that he has been, I don't know, he's slacking. Everyone's talking about Trump unraveling and his whole platform just kind of eroding right now as Kamala is out pounding the pavement and showing up to swing states and important venues to try and talk to folks. Trump makes one appearance in Montana, and it's a state he knows he already has, for crying out loud. So it's just somebody looking for a softball. You know what I mean? He needs a little people to think, hey, I'm great. You're still great, Donnie. You're still great. So,
I mean, this man is so obsessed with crowd size. It's the textbook definition of a narcissist. When you need mass amounts of people to be cheering in your face, that's how you know you might be a narcissist. And where could he go to guarantee a big crowd, a staunchly red state?
And that's exactly why he went. And he had some problems in Montana. I don't know if that he didn't prepare like he normally does. He just thought it was going to be such a softball. But he had some issues in Montana. First of all, he flew into the state and he was a couple hours late for his rally. Left the folks waiting. He flew in, I believe he flew into Billings. Okay, is that where was the rally?
Bozeman, maybe.
That's right. He flew into Billings. It turns out people have started talking about he couldn't get out of Billings because they won't let you refuel your plane if you owe money to their fuel system. Okay.
Yes.
So people started talking about him owing the actual local airport money there. Then that just kind of opened up the floodgates on how much money Trump owes people around this great country of ours, all the way back from the last 2016 election run with his rallies.
Right. This is the man of the people who constantly stiffs everybody from lawyers to contractors to apparently entire towns and cities.
It's insane, dude, how much. I mean, well, it comes out that he owes approximately $2 million. And this goes all the way around our country. What does he owe for? He owes for his rallies. He owes for airplane fuel. He owes for police officers having to work overtime for his rallies and when he comes into town. And he is just left all of these places high and dry. And if you look back into his deep parts of his closet, you'll know before he got into politics, he was doing that to contractors and has been for years. The issue was such a powerful person, monetarily, mind you, doing that to some of these smaller contractors. They're like, oh, we got this opportunity with Donald Trump, so we're going to take it. Like, this is great for my company. I'll go get a loan, front all this stuff, and then we'll get this big project. Well, then he doesn't pay him and says, sue me if you want to. And these little companies don't have the backing to sue somebody like that, so they never get their money and they go out of business.
Yeah. I'm starting to think Trump may not really be a billionaire. I just have this inkling.
Huh? What are you talking about, dude?
I mean, seriously. And honestly, he's so willing to spend campaign funds on anything and everything. Why would you not just cover the $2 million so you can just go around the country? I mean, he's just hopping around the country avoiding debts. Like some deadbeat, dad that doesn't want to pay child support. I'm in Florida now, so I don't have to pay my bills in Montana. But eventually you're going to want to go to Montana and everywhere else in the country. And yeah, what a douchebag, stiffing everybody.
It doesn't make sense to me, dude, that these people, it's happening in my hometown of Spokane, Washington, all right? That's the eastern side of Washington state, so it runs red. But it's happening. He owes them a shit ton of money. I mean, a lot of money, dude. And it doesn't seem to bother the people over there still to see like, oh, he's taking advantage of us as taxpayers and he's not paying. We're paying for all that stuff. They seem fine with it, dude. And I just don't get what causes them to step away. But the question is, are we currently seeing it? Is it starting?
I want to say it's crazy, but I think that's rude to crazy people. I think they deserve better treatment than that.
I think you're right, dude. I really do think you're right. I think it's starting to shift. We're seeing it. You brought up a farmer last week that had, staunch Republican to finally say, like, I've got daughters, dude. I'm done with this. I'm going to admit that I was wrong and move on from it. That's what Rachel and I were talking about earlier this week, and we've talked about on this show that it's hard for people to say, like, look, I was duped. I made a mistake and I was duped. And I just want to put this out there again, like with a full heart. I'm okay with you saying that. I'm okay with you saying that. I may talk about you privately behind your back and be like, what a dumbass, dude. But I'm okay. I'm going to welcome you and say, I forgive you.
I've been cheering people on the interwebs that have come forward to say that. Like, enough is enough. I'm voting Kamala this time, even if I'm holding my nose. And like, good. Welcome to the right side of history for once. Like, I applaud you. I'm not going to sit here and bully you and shame you for voting for Trump the last 2 times or whatever. But this really is the difference between a political party and a frickin' cult. It's what it is. I've been doing a lot of hashtag cult 45 for Trump stuff because that's trending out there. You people are in a freaking cult when you cannot see the light of day, when you justify everything, when you're okay with a felon, a rapist, an insurrectionist, and somebody who is just dumped all over the Bible, upside down, but you're still okay with it. You might be in a cult.
And in fact, let's throw the might be in a cult out the window, dude. Let's just tell them you're in a cult, dude. Please wake up.
It's a little Jeff Foxworthy reference. You might be a redneck if.
Right.
You might be in a cult if you're still voting for Trump after all of this. So.
Exactly. I told my mom this weekend too. Rachel said something, and he poops his pants and people vote for him. And my mom was like, who poops his pants? And she was like, Donald Trump. And she was like, what do you mean? I was like, Mom, you have not heard he poops his pants and has to be clean like a baby and has been for years? She's like, what are you talking about? How much weirder can this get?
Well, I guess we know your mom's not a loyal listener because we've covered that story pretty thoroughly. I'm actually glad to hear your mom is not a loyal listener.
Right.
So, yeah. But yeah, and that doesn't faze people either. They're running around wearing T-shirts. Real men wear diapers.
Right. Yeah.
Crazy. It's crazy.
This is Need to Know News. News you need to know. Hello, Americans. This is Paul Harvey. Stand by for news.
All right, let's switch from politics momentarily to the Olympics, which did have a lot of political controversies, but let's talk about some other elements there. First of all, kudos to all of the athletes and especially Team USA. We did win the Olympics. I know we tied for gold medals with China, and that's the first time that's ever happened in the history of the Olympics where country tied. But we won the overall medal count, and I think we won the overall awesomeness, especially the closing ceremonies. What'd you think of the Hollywood ending to it all?
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%, dude. I think that closing ceremonies were great. Also, I will say that I think it rallied us together as a country right now. don't you think?
In a lot of ways. I mean, the conservative, outcries during the Olympics were so depressing. That whole, Last Supper thing, this whole woman boxer who they thought was a man for some reason, who isn't. I mean, there was dumb controversies that the right kept glomming onto. But if you push them off to the side, which we're trying to do,
right?
Yeah, it was very unifying, and there was a lot of, Team USA spirit going on there. A lot of good competition. And yeah, I will say the end of the closing ceremonies there, Tom Cruise jumping off the roof of the building and rappelling down in. And then, I mean, obviously the ending was pre-recorded where he jumps on the plane and parachutes in L.A. But I really did feel a little, America does have that cool factor that we got Tom Cruise jumping off the roof. We handed off to the Chili Peppers, Billie Eilish, Snoop Dogg, and Dr. Dre, Team L.A. Like, America is... As we've said before, America's backwards in a lot of ways, according to the rest of the world and us, but not when it comes to pop culture and coolness.
No, dude, you make that point often about our pop culture in other countries is so revered, and this shows you right here. Like I really enjoyed the opening ceremonies from Paris and their point of view and their art and everything else. Like I thought it was cool, but all in all, dude, you see the Americans do things when it comes to pop culture, and I just don't think that there is anyone who can beat us.
No, I literally think that is true. So, yeah, Team USA, we're cool. I do want to point out real quick before I get to my actual news story here. The rumors for this last week or so was that Tom Cruise was going to do this epic stunt to finish off the Olympics. And there was a lot of speculation as to what the stunt would be. Tom Cruise is, of course, for some reason, so well known for doing his own stunts, which seems completely unnecessary, but the guy loves doing them. So, yeah. But I just want to point out the epic stunt he did was to rappel down a very tall building down to the floor. I just want to remind everyone that I've also rappelled off a 20-story building. So by international standards, Nick, I have myself done an epic stunt, which I guess makes me epic and American and pretty awesome.
Just shows you're not a narcissist, dude. You don't need that big of a crowd to watch you do it. Come on.
I'm not a narcissist. I'm not making this about me.
No, dude. It's just proving that it wasn't that special, Tom. Like I did that too on a mundane Tuesday, okay?
Exactly. I did it for charity. He did it for cool factor. So
that's right.
I agree with you, Nick. I am better. I'm a better person than Tom Cruise. I think that's what we can agree on. So.
I think that's obvious, dude. Call Captain Obvious and let him know.
Right. All right. So there's a lot of good sports in the Olympics, but I want to get your opinion on breaking. Breakdancing made the debut at the Olympics this year. What was your thoughts going into it, and did you actually see any of the competition?
I did see some of the competition. I can only imagine, Steve, that you're coming to me as a professional breakdancer. I mean, I have a trophy for #1 breakdancer. I have a lot of things happening in my life when it comes to breaking. I've seen breaking 1 and 2, Electric Boogaloo. So I know why you're coming to me, and I'm going to say that as far as Australia goes, I really want to visit Australia someday. And I would love to be on their breakdancing team, okay, because I think I could actually make it. If the level of what happened with Australia breaking is where it's at, I know I can make this team. This lady literally not only did the kangaroo, which I kind of liked. I thought the kangaroo was a nice little touch where she hopped around like a kangaroo. But she also put her face on the floor and just kind of walked around in a circle for, it looked like a long time. This was these things that were happening, I will describe them as having a bottle of wine and then just getting down with it, dude. These look like drunk kids roaming around.
I was worried she was having some sort of seizure, epileptic event or something, or that she was just punking all of us. Like, I'm not a break dancer. I'm the janitor. I just put this thing on and decided to walk up here.
Problem is, dude, is she's some sort of professor. She teaches the beginnings to breakdancing and where it came from.
Right. Now, I do know that, break-in started Brooklyn or whatever, East Coast, United States, and some people took a little different interpretation on it. But boy, I mean, that was quite the spectacle. I don't know if I've ever seen someone score a 0 in a judged category in the Olympics.
Listen, dude, if you didn't see this, and even if you did, I'm going to explain to you that they were doing a round robin. Okay. So this is when, one person is in and they're sort of having a dance battle. Okay. Yes. I'm going to break and, then I'm going to point to you and you're going to do your thing. This was during a round robin. So somebody was in there actually breakdancing, and then it flashed and this girl goes in and she is doing things that I promised you look like an unexcited toddler would do in the backyard. Is that a good description?
I think so. I think it's what it would look like if you threw a shrimp on the Barbie and then turned the heat up way, way too high. Pour some Foster's beer on there or something. I don't know what the hell she was doing. I mean, I applaud her for winning the internet, not the gold, but she certainly won the internet. But
it was weird.
If you throw the Land from Down Under out of it, what did you think about the rest of the competition?
I was really excited for breakdancing because I do like watching people breakdance, and I liked some of it, but overall, I don't know if they should have breakdancing back, is my thought.
Is it a sport? Because that was my thing going into it when I heard that breakdancing was going to be in there. I mean, my first thought was, it's not a sport. It's a dance competition. Like, is Dancing with the Stars, should that be an Olympic event? That's competitive dancing. I mean, that's not a sport, though.
Yeah, I don't know if they're just trying to make the Olympics more diverse to get more viewers and to have more people competing. I mean, it's obviously athletic, right? And if you look at gymnastics, when women gymnastics team is doing floor routine, there's a lot of dancing and the same type of thing in there that takes a lot of athleticism. So I suppose that it fits, I guess.
Yeah, it's interesting because I started thinking that same thing. Like, well, okay, ice skating. I mean, that's a dancing competition, but they're also doing it on ice. Like, it's another factor. Or even like the swimming thing, the synchronized swimming. Like, okay, you're dancing, but you're doing it in water. Like, that's a whole extra factor. But here was the thing. I went into the breakdancing competition wanting to just make fun of it and belittle it. And I really did find it to be highly entertaining and highly athletic. It reminded me very much of gymnastics floor routines or the pommel horse where they're on hands and spinning around and stuff. I mean, it was really athletic, and they did kind of win me over.
Yeah, I think that I think they've done their job, and the reason I think they'll probably stick around is it has won some people over, and it's also here's some 17-year-olds now really wanting to watch the Olympics, and it makes the pool bigger for people to compete in the Olympics. Rachel said for years, she wanted to be an Olympian, and obviously she's 47 now, but she was like, I still have curling. I could still go do curling. So people want to go into the Olympics, and now you could possibly do it as a skateboarder or a break dancer. Like, this really opens up the pool for competition.
That is fair. And I don't want to rain on your electric boogaloo because that would be some sort of hazard, I'm sure. But I don't think breakdancing is coming back.
I don't think so. I know they won some people over, but I don't think it's probably coming back.
No. So reading from USA Today here, the breaking competition at the 2024 Paris Olympics was years in the making, and it was over in about 30 hours, bringing a brief flash of excitement and intrigue. However, it's not going to come back again. It's already off the schedule for the next two Olympics.
Really?
Yes. Los Angeles and whoever's up after that have already announced that this is not going to be included. So for anyone who competed in it, this is probably going to be the only time in their lifetimes that this would have happened. The Los Angeles organizers said that, it's not a core sport, and we have options when it comes to scheduling some of these peripheral sport, some of these side sports, that aren't the core. And so the Olympic Committee for the LA 2028 Games, they want to do some other new sports. They're opting, instead of breakdancing, they're opting for flag football, cricket, lacrosse, and squash. So that does squash literally breakdancing. So it is not on. And the 2032 organizers have also said that they don't think they're bringing breakdancing back.
Interesting. I guess I'm kind of for that, of bringing some of these other sports in and upping that level of competition and seeing what sticks, dude. I mean, if not enough people watched breakdancing and enjoyed it, or it took too much to make it happen, it's got to be taken away. I understand that.
It's a bit of a tease, though. I feel bad for the breaking community because a lot of effort did go into it. It was entertaining, and it was a different vibe for sure. I mean, having hip-hop music and the crowd going crazy was cool, but I almost feel like there should be some rule that if you're going to introduce a new sport, it has to stay for at least a few cycles. Give it a little time because it's being dropped. What do you think about flag football? Flag football? Is this middle school gym class at the Olympics now?
I think it'll be, rugby, soccer, I think it's unnecessary to have flag football in there. You know what I mean?
I think
this is kind of like everybody gets a trophy. Anyone can get into the Olympics now. I mean, flag football?
I truly don't understand that. I mean, flag football is something you do for adult leagues. You don't want to hurt yourself. Or, like I said, if you're teaching middle school kids the fundamentals, okay, flag football. But the rumor is, and this is coming in part from the NFL, that Team USA for flag football will be NFL players. The cream of the crop are going to go out there. It's basically going to be passing routes because you can't run in flag football. It's too easy to grab the flag. So they're just going to be bombing it deep and showing off passing skills, I guess. If you're going to do football in the Olympics, do football. Go out there and tackle each other.
Yeah, you need both. I mean, you need to show the hits and you need to show the bombs. You need to show the runs. You're right. I mean, I can't imagine flag football would be real entertaining to watch. And why are you going to have people, professional football players, playing flag football, dude? That's just like they're at a barbecue on Saturday and we're going to televise it in the Olympics.
And I will say I've seen a lot of videos on the interweb talking about the fact that breaking will not come back. And they're all blaming this poor Australian woman, which I guess she's an easy target, but it's completely false. It has nothing to do with her. This was decided before the Paris Games had even started.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you, dude, that you should give it a couple of, at least give it 2 Olympics to see if it takes off. It's like putting a new talk show on the radio and taking it off because the first show didn't, get huge listenership. Sometimes it takes a little while to grind and people end up loving it. So
kudos to them for putting it out there for the world to see. And I guess it'll bring more attention to the sport in general, but it is done and over.
Well, women's gymnastics, what a phenomenal couple of weeks here watching the gymnastics team. And, of course, you witnessed history if you watched Simone Biles. She is the GOAT. She proved that over and over. I was happy that she came back on this redemption tour from her mental health break and showed that, you can get back up on the proverbial horse and ride again. She did well. This conversation started with you talking about how many things happened in the Paris Olympics that were sort of controversial. And we got a medal deal that's happening in women's gymnastics that is really controversial. They had a huge routine happen for Romania, and it turns out this Romanian girl is holding the flag because she's going to win the medal. The scores come through. These coaches, when it comes to gymnastics, every routine other than the last routine, they have 4 minutes to go up and say, hey, you need to review that. I don't feel like that was a fair scoring. Okay? They have 4 minutes. On the last routine, they have 1 minute. Well, 1 minute and 3 seconds in, the coach went up and said, hey, we want you to review Jordan Childs. I don't think she was scored fairly. They reviewed her and said, yeah, we didn't score her fairly. And they gave her the bronze medal and left this girl who thought she was winning the medal, out in the dark. I mean, it's just shitty the way it was all handled. And now they're going to take the medal away from Jordan Childs and give it back to Romania. Yeah. I don't think they know what they're doing here, and I think it's really poor to mess with these people's heads like this, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, geez, training your whole life for these kinds of things. And although I got to tell you, the latest on this story, I think either Team USA will be victorious or they may give a couple of bronze medals and just say oops, all 3 of you get bronze or something. But so Team USA is saying, and I'm not an expert, I'm just going to go with what they're saying. They're saying they have video evidence that the review request was put in 47 seconds into that 1 minute window. It's on video. We can prove it. So if that's true, if they can prove on video that it got in under the minute, I don't see why they wouldn't now reverse it for the 3rd time or whatever.
Yeah, and that's that would be the great thing to do, because if they have that video evidence, then you can just say, hey, these are what the rules are, and they did do it within time. This is where the medal goes. We're sorry for all the confusion, but we're following the rules here. If they give both gymnasts bronze medals, neither of them mean that much. I mean, on one level, like, you won a bronze medal, so it's awesome, but it's kind of like everyone got a trophy. Like, it takes something away from it. You know what I mean?
A little bit, yeah. There have been Olympic events over the years where someone has a legitimate tie for first or third, where there's 2 golds or 2 bronze given out. And I would argue in some level it diminishes, but at the end of the day, you just want that thing hanging on your wall. So for the rest of your life, you can tell people I was in the Olympics and I won a bronze medal. Like, screw the asterisk. If you got the medal, that's all that matters.
I guess so, but it's just a little painful to watch it go back and forth. So I wish they would get their shit together.
We interrupt this broadcast to bring you this. We interrupt our program to bring you a special.
Here is a news bulletin. We interrupt this program to bring
you the humanity and all the things. A date which will live in infamy. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Need to know news. News you need to know.
Hey, dude, we talked a little bit about J.D. Vance at the opening of this podcast and just what a douchebag he is. This has been going around as of late when Tim Walz came out, new VP pick for Harris, and yeah, he is a veteran, for crying out loud. In fact, he's a very decorated veteran, okay?
Yeah, 24 years, yeah.
24 years. All the country asks of you is 20. And if you opt to stay in longer than that, I mean, he left at an E9? An E9 is crazy, dude. Well, J.D. Vance said, you know what? He skipped out on a deployment. Therefore, he really did this country dirty. He's not a great veteran. Leave it to none other than Jesse the Body Ventura to step on to the screen and say, you know what? I'm a veteran. Let me talk about this.
I think it's shameful that a veteran would attack another veteran. Governor Walz served honorably for 24 years in the National Guard. After 20 years, you are eligible to retire at any time you deem necessary. They talk about him missing his deployment. The National Guard is not for foreign deployment. Their name says what they do. They guard our nation from within. So this hogwash about Governor Walz missing a deployment, not only that, he's 24 years, he's an E9. I deployed twice. We never even had an E9 with us when we deployed. Let's continue. Who does he have respect for? Donald Trump. The biggest draft dodger from the Vietnam War, the rich white boy. A few years ago, I got the opportunity to see the United States elect its first black president. Now, I'm going to be selfish again. I want to be alive to see the first woman president of the United States of America and the first woman commander-in-chief, and we've got her right now.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
It's really good to hear a machismo, former pro wrestler dude just calling it like it is.
And a Navy SEAL, dude. I mean, come on. This is the truth. I mean, that clip was a lot longer. He spoke on it a lot longer. And what they're basically saying was that he avoided this deployment because George Bush, when they went into Iraq for weapons of mass destruction, they were wrong, obviously, but they ran out of bodies and they knew that they couldn't start a draft. So they called on the National Guard. He was already had his papers in to retire. Right. He didn't skip out on it. This is a guy that I think you're going to have a hard time finding bad stuff on.
So, I mean, this is proof of how hard they're trying to find something to, ridicule the guy for. And yeah, and it has come out that whatever these deployment orders were came in after Walz had decided to retire. But I'll tell you, too, even if he's 24 years in and someone came to him and said, your unit's going to go overseas, for him to say, you know what, I'm actually going into politics, like maybe now is a good time for me to bow out. I've been doing this 24 years. There would be no shame in that whatsoever.
Yes. Like I've said to everybody, how long did you serve for? And then it's usually fairly quiet. 24 years of your life that he gave up to that, and you have any questions for him? I mean, that's crazy to me.
And when you're the right-hand man of Captain Bone Spurs, I mean, you've got the balls to question somebody else's dedication in the military. It's hilarious.
Jesse the Body Ventura went on to say that he knows a lot of Marines. J.D. Vance is a Marine, okay? He knows a lot of Marines. And true Marines, people that act like Marines and serve the country as a Marine, would never denigrate another veteran the way that he has chose to do. So that just shows you what a shitbag he is.
And speaking of walls and being treated unfairly, I mean, have you heard this joke rumor they're trying to start about him and cows?
No.
Oh my gosh, it is so freaking pathetic. So Donald Trump Jr. spreads weird and gross lie about Governor Tim Walz. Trump Jr. attempted to spread a really weird and really gross lie about Tim Walz on social media this past week. So the joke they're trying to start is that Tim Walz is blowing horses. Or
what?
Horses, cows, whatever it is. So yes, so they're trying to claim that he was performing oral sex on a horse and the horse jizzed on his face. And that, I just think it's indicative of how much they don't understand how weird they are. You know, you're trying to go tit for tat, and you go so far into Creepyville, so far into Weirdville, that this joke is never going to catch on because no one wants to claim that the guy's going around blowing horses, cows, or any other sort of livestock. I mean, they don't understand the difference between the joke about Vance banging a couch, which is an inanimate object. So they're going to take it to bestiality with Tim Walz and hope that somehow catches on, that he's out in fields blowing livestock. You know, I mean.
Dude, that is so freaking ridiculous. The part that scares me about it, not scares me, but it just astonishes me, I should say, is that people are going to believe that and people are going to say that and go with that. I mean, can you imagine, dude? Get real.
This is the boy that cried wolf problem, because they make up so much shit constantly that this is just going to be part of all of that right-wing craziness on the internet. It's not going to catch on like the couch thing did for Vance, because like I said, on our side, we don't make up all this craziness. We found one thing that we thought was funny and we ran with it, and comedians are having fun with it, but none of us think it's serious, nor did any of us plant it on purpose. Certainly didn't come from any sort of family member or high-ranking official.
Hey, dude, can you imagine, like, maybe this is why I'm not a parent, but as a parent of maybe like, I don't know, 12, 13-year-olds, if they asked you, like, what's this joke about J.D. Vance, you could kind of get away with saying, oh, they're saying that he made love to a couch or something like that. Right. You could never say to your kids, oh, they're saying he blows farm animals, you know, and like, what? That really went quickly, Donald Jr.
It's funny. Like I said, they're spinning their wheels trying to find something. And even the stuff they're making up is just so absurd and so weird. I love that they hate that word now, yet they keep proving it over and over. That's what you thought would be a good comeback to the couch thing? That he's out blowing horses and bestiality? Like, what the hell is wrong with you? How does your mind go there? It's just freaking weird.
You're weird. I mean, it's real nice and simple. That's how it says everything about you. You guys are weird. You're just weird. So yeah,
and I think Trump Jr. is a father. So you're right. Good luck explaining that to your kids when they find your Twitter feed. So.
Yeah. Well, he's too busy. You know how Donald Trump was, being sexual with Ivanka, like saying, I'd touch that. I'd make love to my daughter. He and his daughter were getting makeup done for the RNC. I never told you this, but listen to what he said to his daughter. How creepy this is.
Sky, what do you think?
Okay, hold on. His daughter's name is Sky. He starts out and he says, Sky, what do you think? And he's looking in a mirror, okay?
Sky, what do you think? Getting makeup make me look sexy like you?
I think you look very beautiful.
Thank you, Kai. I'm glad you think I look very beautiful.
Why would you ever tell you, I'm going to look sexy like you to your daughter, dude? You guys are weird.
I never would. Most fathers have some sort of natural repulsion to looking at your daughter as being anything sexual, you know?
Yes.
So, yeah, good to see that the nut doesn't fall far from the nut tree. Making inappropriate comments like that about your daughter is freaking weird.
What do you think, little girl? They're going to make me look sexy like you? Like, that is creepy, dude. Oof.
And my favorite thing I saw on the interweb today, apparently an old picture of J.D. Vance in drag back in college has come to light. So Now he's got pictures out there on the interweb of him doing drag, which I'm told is, straight from the gates of hell and trans and all that stuff. But
it's funny to see, dude. I don't know. Are you familiar? I should know his name, but there's a transgender friend of J.D. Vance's who is now a lawyer, and he was good friends with J.D. Vance in law school. He has come out and said, and released their text messages, emails, stuff like that. I mean, he's a completely different person. You saw him in drag, and yeah, that's not a bad thing to do. Whatever. But he now sure thinks it is. So explain your way out of that one.
I don't want to do what they're doing and make fun of them necessarily for being dressed in drag, but it's worthy of making fun of them because they're so transphobic and freaked out over the Last Supper thing that wasn't even the Last Supper thing in the Olympics. They hate trans people so much, and they hate drag shows so much that, you used to dress in drag. So yes, we are all now going to circulate that picture so we can point out your, right-wing hypocrisy for the 5 millionth time.
You're weird. People are putting up billboard signs saying, when they come into town, you're weird, and having these pictures are fantastic. So
yeah, no, I've seen a lot of montage videos going around of look at the libs. They're all calling us weird. They all took their talking point together. No, you guys do actually have talking points that you all circulate and repeat over and over. We just see that it's getting under your skin, and we find it hilarious. So we're all going to keep calling you weird till the day you die. So. Yeah. Enjoy that label.
Get used to it.
This is Need to Know News. News you need to know.
Hey, dude, are you aware that Sesame Street since the 1980s has been mocking Donald Trump on Sesame Street?
I did not know it goes back quite that far. No, just because he was a New York City character, right?
Donald Grump. He was, he lived in Oscar the Grouch's garbage can. So Donald Grump was, he looks like Oscar the Grouch, but he has a big, blonde, weird wig on his head. You've heard of him?
Sounds about right. Yeah. Good.
Yeah. They even have a song for Donald Grump. I'm going to see if we can play a little bit of this for you now. I love that even Sesame Street is going after this man.
Who's got more trash than any of yous? Rump, rump, rump. Who has the finest garbage and goo? Grump, grump, grump. That's right. His trash is more trashy. No wonder the grump can't help but
He's Donald Grump, dude, and he looks just like Oscar the Grouch, but he has that wig on. So I love that Sesame Street is making fun of him now, or has been for a long time.
How do you know you're on the wrong side of history when even Sesame Street feels that they can poke fun of you like that? It's good stuff. I hope they taught him what pronouns are, because Trump recently came out and said, I don't have pronouns. I don't like this pronoun thing.
Right, yes.
He literally does not know what pronouns are. So, yeah, he could use some of those letters we were doing at the beginning of the show here. He could use a little education on that. And counting from, the count. Like, he's clearly not very good at math, crowd sizes, vote turnout.
Yeah.
So
I just need 11,000 votes. Okay. So yeah, he's not very good with numbers, but he is a grump. I think we know that as he's now trying to sue the New York Times. And do you know why, Steve?
Oh, is this the AI story?
This is the helicopter story. I mean, the AI helicopter story, he's going to sue someone for AI too, I'm sure. Yeah. But this is the helicopter story that he says that he knew San Francisco's former mayor, Willie Brown. Is that his name?
Yeah. Well known in California, Willie Brown.
That's right. He said, I know Willie Brown, by the way, and this is somebody that Kamala Harris dated a long time ago, and they talk about that's how she got one of her hands up, by dating Willie Brown. Trump says, I know Willie Brown very well. Haven't talked to him for a long time, but we were actually in a helicopter together that went down. We had to have an emergency landing. It was not looking good. Well, it turns out, dude, he was not in the helicopter with Willie Brown.
Right. Yeah, they interviewed Willie Brown the next day, and he was like, I've never been in a helicopter with Trump, certainly not one that almost crashed. I think I'd remember that.
Yes. And the New York Times came out with a story and said, he was never in a helicopter with Willie Brown. Well, Trump said, I'm going to sue you because I have the flight records to prove it. And they were like, Great. Give them to us, dude. We'd love to see him. Show them to us. And he hasn't given them to him yet. But there is another guy.
There's a city council guy from L.A. who said, like, I'm a tall black man, Willie Brown's a short black man, and I was in a helicopter with Trump that did an emergency landing. So maybe it was him, but his name's not Brown. Some people thought maybe it was Jerry Brown, the governor, former governor of California. But nobody can prove any of this stuff. And Trump saying that I'm going to sue the New York Times and I've got the records. Well, A, give us the freaking records, but B, it's not going to show what you claim it shows.
No, it's not going to show it at all. And it's just goes to show you, dude, he gets black people mixed up in his stories because they're all the same person to him. He lies all the time. And this is one that it looks like he's getting caught in this one again, which is funny. But yeah, I have a feeling that no flight records will be produced.
Of course not. Trump always threatens to sue people because it makes him look tough, he feels. But as soon as it comes to this thing called discovery, where you're allowed to, get documents from each other and testimonies, he always backs out of these lawsuits because he knows he's bullshitting. He knows he's got skeletons in his closet that can come out in discovery. So nothing will happen of this. He should have just been a normal human and said, I misspoke. I meant this other guy, not Willie Brown. But of course he can't do that because he's a flaming narcissist that cannot ever look like he's wrong. He can't make himself look old and feeble. So yes, he's claiming he's going to sue the New York Times, which I got to tell you, Trump is too famous to be suing. Like, there's this old rule about slander and defamation where if somebody reaches a certain level of fame, and the president was always the marquee example, that slander and defamation laws don't apply to you anymore. You're too famous. And he is the definition of that. So this lawsuit couldn't go anywhere, but it, of course, won't probably even be filed. And if it does, he'll pull it before anything can come to light.
Yeah. Nothing's going to happen on that one with Donald Trump, dude. I mean, come on.
And this AI stuff, just real quick, is hilarious. I love he's trying to claim that the crowd sizes are fake. Did he not think that there were humans there that will also have cameras, different angles, people that can tell? Like, why would you claim that is fake when it is so easy to disprove? You're such an idiot. But he knows his people will never look into it. They'll take it like the sheep they are.
There's video of it, dude. It was being broadcast. I mean, there was video of it. Like, yeah, you're exactly right. His followers will be like, nope, she's using AI. I guarantee you, I'm going to hear that from someone in my family. You hear she's using AI now to try and look like she has big crowds. Donald Trump said he had bigger crowds than Martin Luther King, dude. Same real estate, much larger crowd.
It's hilarious to watch them scramble on that side to try to justify this Kamala craze. It all has to be fake somehow. It's not. It's 100% real, and the blue wave is coming for you. So get your swimming trunks out.
And we love it, dude. We love the way that this is going. We are seeing this nation feel all of this, and people are smiling again, and they are excited about where this country could go. And we're seeing people ride the blue wave, like Steve said. A lot of them are hanging 10, dude. So stay on and keep riding. Okay.
I'd like to spend 10 minutes pointing out that I predicted this was right, but I'll just spend those 5 seconds because we got to wrap this up.
All right. Well, everyone knows you're right all the time, Steve. The Vocal Minority with Nick and Always Right Steve. See our social media, please.
Yep. The good ones are TikTok and YouTube. Go blow those up for us, but we're on Twitter. We're on Instagram, Threads, Facebook, and we have a comment line as well.
You can dial 844-48-VOCAL. Use your telephone as a microphone. Leave a comment for the show.
Hello, my mini champions. It's your favorite old bag, Betty White. This has been a production of The Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve. New podcasts are released twice a week. Don't forget to watch The Golden Girls wherever great TV is watched.
It's important.